Stop. Don't scroll past this. If you're watching this right now, it is not a coincidence. This is not random. You were led here. You were chosen to hear this message today. And if you skip even 30 seconds of what I'm about to say, you will miss the one thing God has been trying to tell you for months. Are you listening? Good, because this message is personal. This message is for the one who has been carrying a weight they were never meant to carry. The one who wakes up in the morning and the very first thought that enters their mind is guilt, shame. The quiet voice that whispers, "This is your fault." You replay it over and over again. What you said, what you didn't say, what you did, what you failed to do. You have turned yourself into the villain of a story where you were actually the one who got hurt. And today, God says, enough. Type "I'm ready" in the comments if you need to hear this today.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were kind to yourself? When was the last time you looked in the mirror and didn't immediately think about something you regret? Something you should have done differently? Someone you should have been more for? Because I see you. I see the way you carry it all in silence. I see the way you smile on the outside while something inside you is quietly breaking. I see the nights where you lie awake and the thoughts won't stop. The ones that say, "If only I had done this differently, none of it would have happened." Stay here. Don't move. This next part is everything. There is a deep, specific kind of pain that comes from blaming yourself. It is different from regular sadness. It lives in your chest like a stone. It makes you feel unworthy of good things. It makes you shrink when you should stand tall.
It makes you say yes when you mean no. Because deep down you feel like you owe the world something. Like you have a debt to pay for the mistakes of your past. And some of you have been paying that debt for years. You have been punishing yourself for something that God forgave a long time ago. Think about that. Really sit with that. The one who created you, the one who knows every thought you've ever had, every fear you've ever felt, every mistake you've ever made. That same God looked at all of it and said, "I still choose you." But here is what I need you to understand. And I need you to focus right now, because this is where everything shifts. There is a difference between responsibility and self-destruction. Taking responsibility is healthy. It is growth. It is maturity. It says, "I acknowledge what happened, and I will do better." But self-blame, the kind that never ends, the kind that keeps replaying the tape, the kind that has you apologizing for simply existing, that is not responsibility. That is a prison. And God never asked you to live in a prison. In fact, and I want you to really hear this, God is not standing over you with a list of your failures. He is not waiting for you to suffer enough before He helps you. That is not who He is. That is the voice of fear. That is the voice of the enemy. And it has been lying to you. Don't scroll. The most important part is coming. Because here is what God is actually saying to you right now in this moment, through this video. Stop blaming yourself for what you didn't know then. You made decisions with the information, the strength, and the awareness you had at that time. You were not less of a person. You were human. And being human is not a sin. Stop blaming yourself for the relationship that ended. You loved with what you had. You tried with what you knew.
And sometimes, two people can both try and still not be right for each other. That is not your fault. Stop blaming yourself for the opportunity you missed, the door that closed, the path you didn't take. God's plan for your life is not so fragile that one missed step destroys it. He is a God of redirection, not punishment. Stop blaming yourself for not healing faster. Healing is not a race. And the fact that you are still here, still watching, still searching, that is not weakness. That is extraordinary strength. Type, "I receive" in the comments if this message is speaking directly to your heart right now.
I want to talk about something that most people never say out loud. Some of you have been blaming yourself for things that were done to you. Read that again. You have been carrying guilt for wounds that someone else inflicted. You have been asking yourself, "What did I do to deserve this? Why did they treat me that way? Was I not enough? Was I too much? Was I too needy, too sensitive, too broken?" Focus. This is the word God sent you here for. The way someone treated you was never a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of their pain, their limitations, their unhealed wounds. You did not cause that. You could not have fixed that. And you were never supposed to shrink yourself small enough to make someone else comfortable with their own dysfunction. You were not too much. You were too real for someone who was living in denial. You were not too sensitive. You were too aware for someone who had numbed themselves to everything. You were not the problem. You were in the wrong environment. And God has been working, quietly, patiently, faithfully, to move you out of that environment and into the one you were always destined for. But here is the thing. Here is the part that changes everything. You cannot fully step into what God has for you while you are still dragging the weight of blame behind you. Every time you take a step forward, the chain of self-condemnation pulls you back. And God is saying, "Let it go." Not because it doesn't matter, but because I have already handled it. Think about the story of Peter. He denied Jesus 3 times. 3 times. And yet, after the resurrection, Jesus didn't come back with punishment. He came back with a question. Do you love me? Not, how could you? How dare you? You failed me. Just, do you love me? Then feed my sheep. Keep going. Your past does not disqualify your purpose. Can I tell you what I believe God sees when He looks at you right now? He doesn't see the mistake. He sees the courage it took to keep waking up after it. He doesn't see the failure. He sees everything you sacrificed trying not to fail. He doesn't see the brokenness. He sees the gold that forms in the cracks. And He knows exactly what He is making you into. There is a process happening right now in your life that you cannot fully see. It looks like delay. It looks like confusion. It looks like you're going backward or standing still while everyone around you moves forward. But God is not confused. He is not behind schedule. He is not surprised by any of this. He has been in the waiting with you. Not watching from a distance, not tapping His foot impatiently. With you. In every sleepless night, in every tear you cried alone, in every moment you almost gave up, but somehow, you found the strength to keep going. Don't skip this next part. This is what God needs you to receive today.
The version of you who blamed yourself for everything, that version served a purpose. It made you careful. It made you compassionate. It made you a person who genuinely thinks about the impact of their actions on others. That is a gift. But now it is time to stop turning that gift into a weapon against yourself. Sensitive souls were not made for self-destruction. They were made for transformation. Your depth of feeling is not a curse. It is the very thing that will allow you to experience God's goodness at a level that others cannot even imagine. But first, you have to forgive yourself. Type Amen in the comments if you feel this deep in your soul right now.
Forgiving yourself is not pretending it didn't happen. It is not minimizing the pain. It is not making excuses. Forgiving yourself is saying, I was human. I was doing my best, and I deserve to be free. It is releasing the version of you that is locked in the past, the version frozen in that moment of regret, and saying, you are allowed to come with me into the future. Because here is the truth that the enemy does not want you to believe. Your best days are not behind you. I know it feels that way. I know when you have been carrying guilt for so long, it becomes hard to imagine a version of your life that is light, that is joyful, that is free. But that version exists. God has already written it. It is waiting for you on the other side of this moment. This moment where you finally put down the weight you were never meant to carry. You were chosen for purpose, not perfection. You were called for impact, not for flawlessness. You were created to be loved, deeply, fully, completely, not after you fix everything about yourself, but right now, exactly as you are. And the God who fashioned every detail of who you are, who knows the number of hairs on your head, who sees every hidden corner of your heart, that God has not given up on you. He has not grown tired of you. He has not found you to be too much work. He is saying, I have you. I've always had you. Now, let yourself be held. So here's what I want you to do right now, right in this moment. I want you to take a breath, a real one, slow, deep. And I want you to say, out loud if you can, these words. I release the blame I have been carrying. I forgive myself for what I didn't know. I forgive myself for what I couldn't control. I am not defined by my worst moments. I am defined by who God says I am. And He says I am chosen. He says I am loved. He says I am free. Say it again if you need to. And then I need you to receive what comes next. Because something is shifting right now. Something is being broken off of you in this moment. The cycle of self-condemnation that has followed you for so long, it does not have to follow you anymore. You are stepping into a new season, and in this season, you will look back and understand why every single thing happened the way it did. You will see the protection in the closed doors. You will see the purpose in the pain. You will see that God was never punishing you. He was positioning you. This message was not an accident. You are not an accident. You are a deliberate, intentional, deeply loved creation of the Most High God. And He sent this message to find you today because He needed you to know you are already forgiven. You are already free. You just have to choose to walk in it. Press like as your agreement with this message. Let God know you received it. If you stayed until the very end, type Amen again in the comments. God sees your faithfulness. Share this with someone who needs to stop blaming themselves today. You may be the answer to their prayer.